Hey everybody, welcome back to I realize I have the audio on for Twitch and I'm hearing an echo for myself. Sorry about that. Hi everybody. Welcome back for the Longing for Another Strange Land. This is the cast Q&A. So no big story narrative things, but we're just going to hang out, cup of coffee, and answer some of the questions that you had sent. So really excited to see each other again because it's been a couple of weeks, but also to kind of put a nice bookend to this incredible experience. Firstly, we can go around the table and introduce ourselves. My name is Ross. My pronouns are he, him, and I was the guide for this mini series. And I'm also the GM for Blades of Mayari, a Filipino-Canadian-led actual play podcast inspired by pre-colonial Filipino mythology. Let's go around the table. Kenny, would you like to go?
Yeah, I'm Kenny. I use he, him pronouns. I played Apo in The Longing for Another Strange Land, and I also play a character in a podcast called This Could Get Dicey. Also a recent fan of everyone here on the show. And the 2 weeks that we've been off, I've been spying, y'all. I've been spying on y'all, and some good stuff. I gotta say.
Not online. Kenny's in the closet. Just
Yeah.
I couldn't get into Zoe's closet because there's a microphone in there. But
yeah. He's playing Five Nights at Freddy, but he's Freddy. Zoe, would you like to go?
Hi, I'm Zoe. My pronouns are she, her. I played Fong. I'm dead. Let's see. I am. I'm on the hardest of dungeon sometimes. That's where you can find me for TTRPG stuff. Great intro. We're doing
good. Fish, would you like to go?
Hello, I'm Fish. You can find me all over the internet as Fish Finley. I sing, I draw, I play games. It's a fun time. Biggest thing that I'm doing is that I'm on the board for the Crit Awards. The nominations forms get dropped on the 1st of April. So we've got only like less than a week left until you can start submitting all of your nominations. So stay tuned for that. Also, I'm kind of everywhere all the time, constantly. So just like keep an eye out on my card and see what I'm up to. I got to play Vina. Oh, I go by they them pronouns. But I got to play Vina, who is not dead yet. I say yet because honestly, anything can happen. I don't even know. Life is a mystery, and this game was so much fun.
It's a highway, you could say.
Yep. And, I'm gonna drive it all night long. Actually, yeah.
What else can you do?
And finally, Andy.
Hi, I'm Andy. My pronouns are any, they, and I played Sora, alive in my heart. Outside of that, you can find me on Magnificence under TTN, where I play Olwen and other stuff like that. But yeah, I missed everyone here. The 2 weeks gone were like it felt like something was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. When last week rolled around, I thought that we had a recording and realized, oh no, it's done.
Yeah.
But these kind of episodes are really great because it's nice to have closure, like a positive and not just the negative connotation of closure. And to answer some questions. You in the audience, you in chat, have really been an incredible support and helped us raise an incredible amount of money for both Second Harvest here in Canada, as well as the First Nations Development Institute. So first off, thank you so much for your support, your encouragements, for your donations, and for your presence. Like you being here is really, really meaningful for us. I'll just dive into the questions if that's okay. You may hear in the background a screaming child. Ignore the screaming child.
Always.
Just ignore. And
the
maybe
Doom Dots are still here.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, it's Mother.
Okay, cool. Just jumping in. The first question is actually a question to Grant, the producer on this show, director, head of Game Master Monday. in this case, casting director, since he was the one that helped kind of put this cast together. The question from the audience is, or the comment was, this cast was awesome. How do you guys go about choosing which people would play in the series? So the answer from Grant is, from the get-go, Ross knew he wanted a fully Asian cast using an Asian designer's game. Momentos systems were the easy pick there. Luckily, Grant, already knew a bunch of talented performers and wanted to emphasize people who had experience telling gripping and emotional stories, as well as a knack of picking up indie systems. Zoe was the first ask because she is absolutely brilliant during her run on the Art is a Dungeon. Zoe's adept at bringing light to dark scenarios while acknowledging and even reveling in said dark scenarios. Zoe's well of talents goes deep and doesn't dry up, a needed force in a stressful game. Correct. This was a stressful game. Grant goes on to say, I played with Fish before, been a fan of Fish on other streams, and quite frankly, just wanted to bring more of them to Game Master Monday. Correct move, Grant. Fish's enthusiasm for the project and history with a variety of streams was crucial for us. So grateful to Fish for just immediately screaming yes at me. I imagine that you actually did this. Like,
Yeah, I was very excited.
Yeah.
Real quick kind of interjection on it too was when I heard it was an all Asian cast, I was super hyped because it's always nice to get to kind of tell a story that is so specific to kind of our various cultural experiences, but also South Asians get left out of the dialogue a lot when it comes to talking about Asian issues. So I was just really excited that I got asked because it meant that South Asians were being included, and I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm here.
That was a specific request from that me and Grant kind of aligned on. Like, we need to have like a cast of Asian folks that kind of span the as much as we can. And there's so many other incredible performers out there that I would love to continue to work with. And just I can go back to like why an all Asian cast later. There's a question related to it. Cool. Last two. I love Andy on Magnificence. This was another no-brainer pick for me. Anytime you hear Andy on that show, I just think to myself, why the fuck is Andy not in everything? So consider this phase 1 of my evil put Andy in everything plan campaign. Also Rosie, shout out Rosie Say Tears, kept bullying me to put Andy in something. They also bullied me, and I'm like, I can't do.
They
I don't have something to put.
And I have nothing to do with casting. Like Rosie talked at so much length about how awesome Andy was, and then we got to play, and Andy was like, "Oh my gosh, the bar is up there. Let me just freaking vault over it like it's nothing."
Yeah, yeah, totally.
I did not know Rosie was bullying people behind my back.
Yeah.
She was very excited for all of us to get to experience Andy.
Yeah. They're like a Japanese politician campaigning outside of a subway station, like in your face about it with pamphlets. Last one is Kenny. I've grown to love as a performer through his work on This Could Get Dicey, a show that deserves way more ears and credit. Kenny can do light, heavy, savvy, but most importantly, he's clever. When it was revealing he was traitor in episode 1, I did a Jack Nicholson nod because I knew Kenny would bring it. Cool. So hopefully that answers your question asker, about why these folks. I think they're the other kind of big thing is that there is a laundry list of amazing Asian performers out there, and there's just lots of tables that bring other folks to it, and that's amazing in those spaces. And this is one of the things that I know myself and the rest of the cast definitely want to continue to advocate. It was the same when I was creating Blades of Mayari. I realized to myself, if no one's going to do it, then I'm going to do it. Like, I have to do it. And it's turned out way better than I realized. And it gave me more incentive and vision for like something even bigger. So cool. So coming from like a kind and warm and in-depth answer from Grant, the other funny one that kept popping up was from Question Asker. If the cast of Longing for Another Strange Land was replaced by Muppets, who amongst the PCs or NPCs would be the only human, and which would be Muppets, and who would replace who?
Oh, wow.
Oppo's the human.
Yeah,
Oppo is absolutely human.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oppo is just Oppo, actually.
Yeah, he's just himself.
Oppo is a human.
Are you
but
guys
Kenny is
seeing
the
this?
Muppet.
Yeah.
I feel like Vito would absolutely be a Muppet that just kind of acquires props over the course of the game.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No, what do you mean? I always had this cool jacket. What do you mean? I always had these wings. What do you mean? I always had this like just slowly acquiring like shenanigans.
Yeah. Literal Velcro, like just like
Yeah,
sticking it
yeah.
up.
These feathers, they're not new. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
Isn't Fong already kind of a Muppet, like in
Kinda.
design?
Yeah.
Is the most
Yeah.
Muppet-esque of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
of the
Fong's definitely a
characters.
Muppet.
Long would be our Gonzo for sure.
Yeah.
I was
Um,
definitely thinking that.
Yeah, right.
What were the two Serena, was it Serena and the chef and then
I have. Where's my
yes.
journal?
those two would absolutely be Muppets, but they'd
Carnivati?
be like
Carnivati.
the attempt at the universe to make a really towering, intimidating Muppet.
Okay, but hear me
Yeah.
out. The Shadow Giant is a Muppet. The Fire one is a human.
Is a human.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
That's very good.
If we're gonna do pairs, I thought it'd be like Statler and Waldorf. You know, like the two old men that just like chirp from the balcony. Yeah, it'd be them. But then they'd be in love and like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I think that'd be amazing.
I just love the idea of going to the upside down roof and finding a human chef.
yeah. Making like Muppet food.
Yeah.
Very cool.
R.I.P. Muppet Vision.
I know.
And Andy would absolutely not Andy. Sorry.
Sora. Sora.
Sora would absolutely be a Muppet as well.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it'd be like one of those Muppets where you just can't quite figure out what animal it's based on.
Yeah.
Like
it's
all the
like
others have
this-
like a clear inspiration, then you've got Sora who's just like, oh,
It's a little fucked up too. Like you don't know where the fingers go to like make the
It's like coming in from the side. And you're like, what the heck? Yeah. I love it. For the NPC side, I think the little kid that was our introduction into the campaign would be a real kid
Mhm.
running through, and then I think the Rakshasi mother would be Miss Piggy. That's probably the one.
yeah, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the
Oh, who
The-
was the guy who was giving us the there was like, other than the Rakshasi mother, there was another guy
doctor
we had
guy.
met right out the gate that was like ended up not being super, it's like a guard or something.
Do you
Yeah,
mean-
like the scouts that like died
Mhm.
immediately.
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
is
what I'm thinking of. One of them radiated Kermit energy, so
it's the doctor. It's
Oh, the
Nimbus
doctor for sure.
Yeah.
oh, it was the
Yeah,
doctor.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I was like, there was someone there that wasn't the
Yeah.
mother.
Doctor who gave me salt water that I never drank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
You drank it once.
I drank it once. The first
You drank it
episode.
once because you saw it exploding red and was like, no.
Yeah, if it works for it.
I just imagine Fong would be like, camel pack. There's like a
Yeah.
straw.
Just
like,
be next to
just,
him.
just,
Well, it's
sipping the
it's
whole
one of
time.
those like straw glasses.
Yeah.
It like
Yes.
connects to the backpack and then like loops around your eyes.
It's a full size like hamster water bottle.
Yeah, there's like a little. That's awesome. I love
That
that.
makes so much sense.
100%.
That's
And then
really
who would be human? It would be the Shivrama Chimera. Would be just a person.
Yeah.
It's like a
Mm.
bunch
Live
of
action.
people. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, like the contemporary dance where they're all in like a stretchy latex cocoon. It'd be that. And
Oh, that's so
terrifying.
much better. I thought it was like a human centipede situation.
No.
Oh God.
It would be, but without the surgery.
terrible.
I'm distressed by that imagery. Next question.
Next question. Maybe another light one to move on from. Like, actually, no. I think that it's fine. We'll go into some other stuff. So I just also imagine the end scene when everyone there's, you know, the new Inang Uri's there, and it's this sad kind of moment, but bittersweet and melancholy. And you like zoom into Inang Uri's antler, and it's Kermit playing Rainbow Connection. It's like long
There's
scene.
so
Yeah.
many about rainbows.
Right.
And
So
I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Pulled that out of
Uh,
nowhere.
Kind of coming back to a question that was alluded to earlier, was a question from the audience. What was great about playing with an all Asian table? This popcorn free for all. Not everybody has to answer all of these, but
I have
Yeah.
so many thoughts.
yeah, please.
As I mentioned earlier, like South Asians get left out of the conversation, generally speaking, often. So anytime that I get invited to a table like this or to a panel with like kind of a similar kind of vibe, I'm always like very quick to accept because I think there's so much depth of culture in Asia as a whole, like continent, and it's often treated very monolithically, and it's often very colorist and exclusionary of certain parts for the benefit of like what is palatable to the Western world. And so it's really, really nice to be part of an all Asian cast because like all of us have very different experiences about what that means to us. Like for me, my parents immigrated from India, but I'm born and raised in the States. Like I'm very American, and I was very distanced from kind of culture growing up, but now I'm reconnecting. So I have a certain relationship with what it means for me to be connected to my culture and how that manifests into my storytelling and my ability to role play in these sorts of situations. And all of us have very different experiences with regards to that because of all of our various backgrounds. And it's really, really nice to get to connect both in and like relish in that diversity of experience and diversity of origin, whilst also being like we're all kind of in this together in this like woo Asia.
Right after our session 0, where we had like talked about the systems and everything, I had sent a message to our like little private Discord chat, like how much I felt like I was going to learn from just playing with you all. Because similar to Fish, I grew up here in the States. My parents are immigrants, but I grew up here, so very American and like intentionally American upbringing. And if there's like my affective filter is like was immediately lowered coming to the table, you know. I didn't feel like I had to hold anything back, and I felt like I was really poised to listen to you all because I don't, it's just like with all of you being Asian along with me, I was like, man, I got a lot to learn from these people, and that doesn't you know, I usually have to like read the room. I didn't feel like I had to read the room here.
Yeah. There's kind of like not speaking for everybody, but I know in my experience, there's this kind of inherent code switching that needs to happen in regards to like different cultures and different situations, especially so for immigrants. And I found that like one of the reasons why I pulled a table like this together is that what you were saying, that code switching needs to kind of, we switch once and then we're there together, and we don't have to hide as much or filter as much. And the first time I had been at an all Asian table, I realized that that filtering was way more exhausting than I had thought. And it was incredible to kind of see what kind of stories would come out once we were sitting all at the same table, kind of sharing each other's stories and food and experiences. And when you hear similar struggles and hear similar jokes, but all kind of variations of it from like different perspectives, it's incredible, and just something that we need as a larger community, but also we need as a very specific community as Asian performers. Yeah, sorry, I'm just jumping in there.
I think my favorite part was we did the session 0 and it took 5 seconds before the conversation turned to food.
It was,
Like-
Yeah.
I think there was like an immediate proposition that the major plot point be around a restaurant. It was
Yeah,
like,
that was
5
one of the
seconds.
early ideas, that like the world-ending thing is happening and the 4 characters are restaurateurs.
Like audience, I don't think you understand this. This was almost just gonna be us in a restaurant talking about different dishes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was very close to just being that.
Totally.
Food. I love food.
So adding on, for the players in particular, question from the audience: were the factions you created inspired by any of your own experiences or cultures? What did you bring anything personal into creating those factions?
I know I definitely did. So I was kind of responsible for creating the Wizened. When we were doing our first session with the system of the Children of Inangari. And for me that translated as so because I was born and raised in the States, my parents, due to a whole bunch of totally understandable factors, chose to focus on assimilation for my brother and I. And so I never learned Hindi. I only understand Kannada, but I can't speak it, and my vocabulary is very limited. My connection to the clothing and the culture is very, very, like, kind of non-existent. My ability and, like, kind of innate desire to communicate to my family members and, like, my culture is just not there, because the priority was always to feel American
Mhm.
for the sake of belonging here. And so it was like, and now that I'm like adult, I have the opportunity to kind of reflect on that and reach out again and try to connect with my roots. And what that means is that I feel like the more I connect, the more I realize how much I lost out on, because I was trying to feel like I belonged here, which is not inherently a bad thing. And so that manifested in the Wizened as being like this constantly trying to change how you appear to fit what you think is the ideal.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
as that kind of manifested into what the Wizened ended up becoming in the kind of later edition of the world, it was all of these like traits and choices and cultural decisions no longer really matter. It's just what you are. And all of those like whys can add more depth to what you are, but like you have to figure that out. You have to make the effort to connect back, or else you just kind of get to be you, which again, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it's just been my experience as an Indian American.
Totally.
I was originally
I
gonna
ramble
say
a lot,
no.
so if at any point I'm just kind of going, feel free to cut me off.
Okay. Zoe, sorry, you were saying something?
I was gonna say no at first, and then I started thinking, and I was like, "Oh no, yeah, no, there is, yeah." So I have a tendency to play characters that are like just a guy or very practical, useful, and I was like, "No, I just wanted to like be a cool little crafty guy." No, it's. I have a need. My parents are also immigrants. I have a need to like make myself useful. You have to be good at something. You have to always be being productive. Otherwise, why are you here? Like, what's the point? Uh, and I guess that does really leak into my role play quite a bit, because I'm like, okay, well, if I'm not being useful, what's the point? That's not true. You don't have to be useful. You can push the story along without being necessarily just the practical guy. Be more.
Yeah, there's really great analyses on. I follow like different video essayists that do analyses on songs and stuff, and there was one on Surface Pressure from Encanto. And there's a line in it That's like under the surface, was Hercules ever like, yo, I don't want to fight Cerberus? Under the surface, I'm pretty sure I'm worthless if I can't be of service. And I was like, fuck me.
Oh, no.
Oh, just stab me in the
It's
chest. Cool,
true,
yeah.
yeah. This is like the older sister that feels like she's responsible for all of the young cousins and all that. And I'm like, that
I am
resonates
the
in so
eldest
many ways.
child.
Yeah.
I'm also the oldest
Eldest
child.
child syndrome.
Same.
Oh no.
I was the test case in my fam of like, how do we want to raise our kids? So my brother got like kind of the same set of priorities, but he got them. They were developed a little more. They were kind of understood a little more, and he had me.
Yeah.
I'm pretty cool, I think. As a sister.
I think you're pretty cool.
Everyone here thinks you're very cool.
Yes.
Correct.
How are you?
I created the Shivrama not knowing I was going to be a traitor.
Hmm.
But I similar to Zoe, but with a little bit of a bend, I have a tendency to create characters that need a little bit of redemption. And I think that's probably, I wanted to create the Shivrama as like kind of a manifestation of the forces that have stopped me from feeling like I belong to the Asian community.
Mm.
Because I like I said, I really wanted to come in and like learn from all of you and from how you were playing this game and from what you brought to the game. So I wanted to create a group that like interacted with every group and would therefore become less withholding of what was sacred and more like accepting and giving. Unfortunately, I had to flip that story as the story went on, but that's where the Shivrama came for me. I wanted to be able to interact with all the factions and for them to have a chance to not be so withheld and sacred about what this at the time the resource that they were using, but also in a broader sense like what it means for someone to belong to a culture. And I was trying to like get some of that for myself through this game and through playing with you.
Totally. I think I resonated with that early. And then at the end, when we found out you're a traitor, I'm like, oh, they're gatekeepers. Like they are the
Exactly.
they are the definers of what is in and what isn't. Hence,
Hey
like,
Russ, that's a great word to define the whole 8 sentences I just said.
yeah.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking of.
Well, that's why it made sense to elevate them into like the royal family, and they wrote the history, and like you're either in that history or not, or painted in a positive light or not. And they are like the ones that determine
they control the
bounds of
perception.
community. Yeah, totally.
I was hoping to create a faction that did the opposite.
Yeah.
But
Right.
you know, you roll with the roll. And these games makes
Totally.
momentos.
Yeah.
So, for the Grave Eaters, I think it's fairly obvious that I took a lot of inspiration from like my own culture for it. What? Really?
No.
So I grew up in the Philippines. I immigrated last year. Outside of that, so like a lot of like the death stuff, even the fact that they were like multicolored and they tell stories and things like that. A lot of Filipino culture, when it's taught to you, it's a word of mouth culture. A lot of the things are through like little stories that people will tell each other, that sort of thing. The rainbow was because a lot of like holy things in like some Filipino stories, they're not like white, which I think is the usual association for like Western cultures. They're multicolored. They're like the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah.
Like
Saramanok.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a holy bird.
The Ibon Adarna was like colorful in like that story too.
Totally.
And for like the celebration thing, I think this was more of like a personal thing for me. Where I'm from, during like All Souls Day or like we'd set off fireworks. Like it wasn't like a quiet, somber like a celebration or like a kind of like moment in the graveyard. No, people are setting off like fireworks into the sky. They're like little like colorful like little like flyers that people would like toss up into the air. It was very bright and like sort of that sort of thing. And I thought, oh, I did. To me, that was like so normal, like growing up, that I didn't realize that was a thing that was not the norm.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's very similar to like Dia de Muertos, the like Day of the Dead and celebration and stuff. Except you go, I think it's actually pretty similar. You go to the graveyard and you like have a picnic and
Yeah, exactly.
chat with family that passed away, and yeah. That makes sense why you're called grave feeder. Sorry, I'm like making these connections now.
I was still thinking about food.
Yeah, 100%.
What about you, Russ?
Yeah, no, the whole thing. I made a very I tried to align with the thesis that Momentos had stated in the foreword of Arc Doom, where that there is a real need to rage against this idea of a default setting, that the default setting is Eurocentric, and magical, and white people are in power, and it's a patriarchy that has this serf feudalism, and like that's the default, and we should, if you stray away from that, you're kind of weird. Like I like viscerally dislike that. So to be able to bring this kind of table together, and for us to create a world that still has those flavors in it because that's our lived experience, but then to try and break from that, even from like I did my best to also bring as much like Tagalog terms and Ilocano terms, because my mom is Ilocano, and tried to bring in even small phrases that were in Mandarin, or naming the towers Paifang rather than just towers. And I did my very best to even include some like one phrase in Kannada, because I tried to look it up, and I'm like, I'm gonna do my best, because it's worth doing your best in that, right? And it's like that starts to open up. It's like getting a new box of crayons, and you're like, oh, there's way more, because I just need to look right. I need to look left, and there is way more available to me than just what's in front of me right now. And yeah. Even in like the map that you all had with the kind of cryptic wording on that uses Baybayin, which is a traditional Filipino script, and yeah, all of that is like baked in there. But I think what's important as well is to not like bring attention to it, to be like, ooh, look how incredible and exotic this is, which is a real fine line to play, especially with like Blaze of Mayari. Like we're very aware that by bringing all of this attention to it, we could skirt into exoticism and being like, look at this mystical East and how incredible it is, or whatever. So by being able to like have it as the reality, and not just like bring too much attention to it, and just have it as the natural vernacular and mechanisms of the world, is in itself like revolutionary and raging against that default setting perspective.
That point really quick. The other bit of it is that like there is kind of, each of us are from kind of all across Asia, like all different parts of what cultures kind of reside there, and it's weird to consider what parts of our various cultures have been kind of stripped down to be palatable to the West, and which parts of it are kind of the expected bit to emphasize.
Totally.
So it's one thing that I really enjoyed about being part of a group like this, is because we got to tell our own story, and we got to emphasize the part of our culture that we care about, and not the part that necessarily the Western world goes, ooh, look at that. Because like that's a really like a line that ends up having to get like navigated, is like, what is the stereotype, and what the Western world is idolizing, and what is what I actually want to show off.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, everyone watching has to donate $1 for every time one of us has been called exotic.
I don't know if there's enough.
Where are you really from?
Oh my gosh, don't even.
Mine is your English is so good. I get that
Dude,
one
I
a
get
lot.
that. Yeah. That's a good one.
When someone's like, "Oh my gosh, I heard your accent come out there," and I go, "What accent?
Yeah.
I'm
What are you
in
talking
California.
about?
What accent?
Yeah. When people have said that to me in the past here in Canada, I was like, yeah, my Canadian accent's kind of strong sometimes. I just like, don't know what to say.
Yeah,
Oh
I do the
God.
same thing, but like, yeah, I know I'm from Texas. It
I
slips
know,
in there
yeah.
sometimes.
Where
It
is
sounds
I mean,
funny.
Slipping into
I
a
guess I
southern
grew up in
drawl.
Rhode
Yeah,
Island. I guess not really California. I guess it's probably a different state.
yeah.
You're right. I'm totally lying.
And to like tack a thing on at the end, it is nice that at least the way that we did it and the way that we were able to present it, it feels like it's a culture, not an aesthetic, which is
Yes.
Yes.
that one.
goddamn, that's so fucking refreshing.
That's really nice.
Which is like for somebody who grew up in the diaspora, hard to parse. It's like hard to navigate. Like where does that line end, and where does like the ogling from an external culture begin, right? Like, because I participated in that too. Like I look at the Philippines and be like, oh, white sand beaches and whatever, and I don't understand the depth of cultures and stories and hardship that folks in the motherland do. But I want to engage in those stories, and I want to still bring my experiences to it. So it's still something that's, in my experience, still tricky to navigate. But like, well, I guess what I've come to terms with is that it's still worth doing. It's still worth making those mistakes and correcting and kind of continue moving forward, because otherwise we self-censor it. And we accept the assimilation rather than questioning it and building the identities that we want for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's jump into like individual character questions.
Okay.
So I had another one here. Okay, yeah. Zoe, what was up with the tardigrade with the duckbill platypus duckbill? Incredible, terrifying. Where did that come from?
I just thought that the head of tardigrade looks a little scary, and I wanted it to be a little bit more approachable. And I don't know why, but the duck head seemed more approachable. Objectively, no. It's not. It's definitely terrifying to see a water bear with like a duck head. Why would I choose that?
Have you seen
Great
the inside
question.
of like a duck's mouth?
Yeah. It's even worse.
Andy, please info dump, because I've never seen it.
We'll put it in our Discord in case it triggers.
It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, it actually made an incredible desiccated zombie when I thought about it. I was like, oh, they're the perfect ones. And just to kind of like continue to extend on Fong a little bit, Zoe. Another question was, Fong and Vina committed arson and theft. Like, when did that happen? Was there anything in Fong's backstory that you wanted to explore further that maybe you didn't get a chance to, or to bring to the forefront?
Oh man. I have to remember what my rumors were. So the way that ARC has the character sheet, it's a spreadsheet. It's beautiful. I love it very much. But there's like 3 rumors, and I had my 3 rumors, and then Fish said something about Vina committing arson, and I went, we should commit arson together.
So when I saw that 3 rumors thing, my main thought was these don't necessarily have to be true. And one of them can have an amount of truth to them, or one of them can be a truth that she doesn't want people to think is true. And I was like, and then my go-to in any situation is arson. Like, I'm sorry, but my personality is the color orange, and fire is funny. So I was like, you know what? We'll say people are very sus that she's committed arson, and we'll go from there. Maybe she hasn't committed arson, and then Zoe was immediately like, okay, like, what if she has an accomplice to the arson?
And there's Bond, so we have a Bond now.
So it ended up becoming a
Little
whole thing
partners
of
in
like
crime.
secretly in our past we have a tendency to burn buildings to the ground, but we don't want people to know, but people like low key know, and so we're just like, I don't know what you mean. Fire?
I never seen a fire in my life.
A bond forged in arson.
Forged in arson.
That's definitely something in the system that we didn't get to explore too much in the rumor aspect. Arc has just a lot to offer, and I feel like if you were playing a more social or political like intrigue game, that is like a core mechanism. But so it's cool that it's there, and it helped build kind of that relationship, but didn't get to explore too much. Fish, when bringing Vina to life, what were the biggest surprises when doing that, either positive or challenging?
So when I was initially building Vina, I have a tendency in most RPGs to play a character that's like really, really thoughtful about their decisions and very like introspective and careful. And I was like, this is the end of times is coming. Like we're just gonna go for it. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna play a character that's like impulsive and kind of just running at it and not really sure where they belong and kind of just vibing. And the thing that caught me the most off guard, I think, the thing that surprised me the most was that when we got closer and closer to the end, a lot of times in kind of mini campaigns, you don't end up getting that much kind of character development within a single character because that's not really the point, because you just don't have the time to do that for everybody. But I felt like Vina had grown more than I was expecting her to. Like, I was absolutely just expecting her to be like, I'm gonna kind of accidental my way into learning how to fly. Like, it's gonna be fine. And we made it to the end, and I was like, Vina has now made it out of this as like a thoughtful person. Like, she's still impulsive. She's still gonna just kind of do things off of whim and trust her gut, but like she's considering consequences now. And so like that kind of character growth is just not something I was expecting to get to experience in this game, and it was something I was really excited to get to feel.
Vina felt like at the end when somebody you're talking to suddenly focuses on you and is actually listening. Like that's what that moment at the very end felt like when Vina was holding Fong and the world was collapsing around them. It was like your pupils narrowed and like Vina
I
was
locked
like,
in.
yeah. And it's like, I think it's really cool because then there's this other story that will happen after the credits roll. I think it's going to be really interesting for Vina because now they literally held the consequences of choice in their hands, and now what, right? Like, so and I think that's a really nice end for characters that continue. So yeah, bravo. Andy, was playing a character with a disability something that you had wanted to do before coming into the game, or did the character evolve from the opportunities and histories of the Grave Feeders?
So kind of like half and half, because obviously them being like a limbless was something that happened because of how things worked out in our first like world building session. But things like the voice and how they had a hard time speaking near like the start of the series, that sort of things, those were choices that I personally like wanted to make, like just because like me personally, like growing up, a lot of like my family and like just the people that I knew were like had like some form of like disability and stuff. So that was a thing that I like grew up in and sort of like saw for like a long time, like growing up. And I like I wanted to highlight that not as like a, oh look, it's a disabled character, but just like, I don't know, like it's hard to explain, I guess. Like yes, it was an intentional choice, but I didn't want it to be like a, what's the word for it?
Like
It's
a gimmick.
yeah, I didn't want it to
Yeah.
be like a gimmick. Like this,
Totally.
no, this is just, this is a person, you know.
I'll say as as like your fellow player, I found myself very often kind of like forgetting, for lack of a better word, that Sora was disabled and was more just like, these are just Sora just is.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, this is the character just is. The features that they have just are, and it was they didn't feel like this was a piece of them who were kind of going like, it was just like they just are. They exist and they're allowed to exist.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because if this was a like a visual medium, like if it was a short video or a movie, I think it would be perceived in a much more like forefronted way. But because it's audio, it lets kind of the core of the character come through while still like acknowledging the case like that Sora couldn't climb the ropes. Like they needed to be pulled up, and you know they had trouble kind of navigating that. And so it wasn't like it was hidden, but that's this kind of medium allows for a real centering of like the core character rather than the perception of what the character is, or misperceptions. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Kenny, you had a unique experience of having to create a traitorous faction and then playing a character coming to terms with that history. Like, what drew you to that character concept, and what was the biggest lesson that you take away from that experience?
Well, I planned the faction to be just a regular old faction, and they turned into a traitorous one. So I had to do some realignment, like on the spot, of what, like I had this whole like concept map drawn up, what I wanted this faction to be. That of course I was willing to change, but that experience for me was a real test of like TTRPG skills, of like being in the moment with you all and making sure to play my character while keeping Momentos's like game design in mind and wanting to do it justice. Like the Marvelous Children of Inongiri, like I've played a lot of, you know, like Werewolf and Mafia, like those types of games. I was in a musical once based on the card game Werewolves. Like I've been deep in these games. And the I wanted to play that role so well, so that I would honor Momentos's game. That became like kind of a shift for me. But then I got so excited, like we had our little break on the first stream, and I was like, oh, my character after this can be like based on, you know, this faction, and like someone try, like I said, I really like redemption stories, so I'm excited to make this character who can be kind of a spy. Like I had this idea, I wanted to be a spy for the Devon. That was exhilarating, actually, really exciting. I love being the traitor. I love being the werewolf or the mafia, like that. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know that the Inongiri was going to be so lovable and incredible. Like I knew not what Fish would bring to the table, but don't regret it, actually, because it made the game really exciting for me, and I'm glad we got to explore that aspect of the game.
Yeah.
And then in the creation of Oppo, that was just fun. Like that was really fun. I got to put a lot of myself into that character, and like I just really want to do some good, and that service thing that Zoe was talking about earlier. I just want to help. You know, I've got all this privilege, and I've got this position with the Devon. I really want to help the people who really need it. So that was just fun for me, actually. And what I learned was, I learned a lot from you about culture, all of you. And the thing I learned the most from that process was that like I like injecting a little villainy into, like, I don't like a, you know, purely good or purely bad character, but I really enjoyed playing just like a good character, like fun. He wanted to do good. That was kind of new for me.
can't have a table of immigrants without interjecting intergenerational trauma as a sub theme, at least.
If the audience could have heard like the conversation that happened after the first stream.
Grant just posted in the chat and said exactly what I was thinking, which was it felt so earned because we had gotten to a point where we were basically like, okay, we're probably none of us are the traitor. Okay, we're fine. Like I'm slightly sus of all of you, but I'm not sus of anyone enough. And then Kenny comes in with the friggin'
they will do what they do best. They will mine.
Oh,
yeah.
So
I remember that
good.
moment. We were at the table and we are like, yeah, Inangura has like one HP left. It'll be fine.
like we did it. It's fine.
It was fine. And,
And then it
Kenny's
wasn't.
turn. And then there was a pause, and I'm like, you're kidding me.
I had kind of resigned at that point. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, there's
yeah.
no, it's impossible for
Yeah.
me to get it down to 0.
Yeah.
But
Unless they
everything
just-
lined up.
But
It
yeah,
really
it just lined up
did.
really well.
Guys, go back. You can hear our hearts breaking. Like if you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
watch that one.
Yeah,
Oh.
you get to that point, and then there's like a moment of silence, and then just a bunch of shattering.
Yeah, so much. Like all of us are coming together. Like old wounds were closing. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
It's that Simpsons scene where like Bart's going frame by frame, and you can see when like Ralph's heart breaks.
Yeah, yeah. You
for
get to
the
catch
old
that.
90s cartoon heads out there.
God, I
Um,
hope this doesn't affect how much people do or do not trust me in Castaway Season 2 this summer. I'll be a loyal friend to the end in that game. I promise.
You say that. I'm like,
I
I
yeah.
believe
Like a
Final
liar.
you.
Final
Who
2.
lies?
Yeah.
This character with the pickaxe again.
He just wear a mustache. Yeah, no, I think I actually really wanted to be the traitor because, like,
Mm.
the way that for those who didn't see the first episode or the world building episode in the Marvelous Children of Inang Ori, all the players roll a d6. If anyone rolls a 1, then you're a traitor. So there's like multiple scenarios. There's one that there's a mix of traders and not traders. There's oops, all traders, or like no one is a traitor. And the opportune, really best scenario is that one person is the traitor, and then we ended up just having that golden ratio. Because yeah, I remember in the middle of it, we just kind of forgot about the traitor, and we were just thinking about our factions, which is again testament to the game design, because like you're
Yeah,
just
we
trying to get through it.
we
I
got to a
think that-
point where it was like we just have to make sure Inanguri doesn't hear. We just got to put all of our points into this so that Inanguri is fine. And
Yeah,
I guess I know for me, I just forgot like the order of events
yeah.
in that. Like I was like, oh, it's all gonna be fine, and then I forgot that like if you mine, that happens now.
Yes, totally.
we
Yeah.
resolve it later. That happens now.
Yeah, so a follow-up, kind of a follow-up on that was for me. Question from the audience: do you know where Ross? Do you know where the story would have gone if Kenny hadn't betrayed you all? It's not Kenny. The
Kenny betrayed
traitorous
us.
faction. Kenny is an incredible player. Don't vote him off on Castaway. But if the Shivrama hadn't betrayed you all and brought about a murder most foul with an incredible FOWL pun, where would it have gone? When I think about playing the initial kind of thoughts when brainstorming this miniseries, I thought about like the Magic School Bus and like going down into Arnold's digestive system. Like that was kind of the seed of the idea that you would have to go into the bowels of Inang Ori and like try and save what was the core of her.
Because we had like the whole premise was that like she eats people, but only people who give themselves willingly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was gonna be like a whole thing of us.
You'd have to convince her to like consume you essentially, and then you have to like go in there and fight. and deal with all of that, which I think is still an interesting story. And like, there'd be layers in that, and I thought about like, oh, maybe Inagori is a war machine and you're trying to save a person, and that person was, etc. But I think this is a better story because like I really like that one of the red threads of the whole series is like the consequences of your decisions. So here it's like the consequence literally erupted from the ocean, and now you have to like deal with this. So I don't think I could have set up a better kind of situation. I also, kind of evil genius-y, I added 2 dooms at the end. So rather than 1, it was supposed to be like, I don't know, something minor. And then like the red mold came in, and I'm like, yeah, let's just do 2. Because like, I think it's more exciting. It would give us more levers to pull. I didn't realize that I didn't need to because there was a traitor, and that Inagori would have perished anyways.
I just want to highlight a message in chat that asked, "What are the odds there's a whole society of Ward people in her?" There's a specific thing in like the culture thing. We kill the people before she eats them. That's
It would be like your spirit
Zero
or your soul.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, gee.
The other thing was immediately after that first session, as we were all kind of figuring out what we wanted to do character wise, and as Ross was building the world, if to be a fly on the wall in that that group chat was literally all of us going, okay, so we're going to talk about basically lost connections to cultural connections. Cool. Glad we all landed on the same theme immediately.
Yeah. It didn't take a lot of convincing to get people on board.
There's
with
no
that.
relevance to anybody in this chat at
Yeah.
all.
I don't even have a culture. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
What culture?
Cool. So moving on to the next question here. Zoe and Andy, did your... I'm assuming people watching this have watched the series, and if not, spoilers.
Not right.
Zoe and Andy, did your characters' deaths feel like a fitting end to your characters, or did you hope for their story to continue after the close of after the credits rolled?
Well, I know for me, 100%, it felt like a fitting end. Zoe, how do you feel about Fong?
I'm very glad that Ross gave me the opportunity to die at the end, because I had chosen to keep on going. But I think it's very fitting at the end of it all for Fong to have died.
We also got like a fun little bit of like parallel there, right, between like how Sora died and how Fong died, because like Sora tucked away so that they wouldn't slow everybody else down, and Fong like went with them, right? And they both died doing those 2 things, which are technically like on the other sides of like the spectrum, but are accomplishing the same thing, which was super fun to me.
Yeah, I think the thing with like games like Dungeons and Dragons that's kind of hard to do if like a game master is a little bit new at it, or that's, depending on the table, is letting your players choose how their characters end. Because like in D&D, like, oh, the dragon ate you, that's cool. But like in this case, and to be fair, it's very, very table contingent. Like if you have a table that is down to kind of narrate that and have that, and a GM that can give that kind of space, that's no matter the game, it's possible. But it feels like games like Arc allow you, there's so much padding actually before your character dies, so you can have that like real progression towards an end. And then it was, I think it was really fascinating to see how the 2 of you chose, because like, Zoe, like you made Fong be as useful as they possibly could. Like they literally crawled with their dying breath to like deliver the final piece of the puzzle, essentially. So I think it was a very appropriate end in my mind.
I was playing essentially like a doctor embalming person, and my character got to die giving a funeral to themselves. I think that was super fitting.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
oh,
I also like, so this is another example of like interjecting culture without like bringing a whole bunch of attention to it. So in Filipino folklore, I guess, kind of common sense superstition is a weird way of saying it, but there's this like phenomenon that when somebody passes away, a loved one comes and picks them up. It's called sundo. So like the process of a past loved one meeting you at your end and bringing you to the next whatever is next. And I wanted, so when Sora died, I had Inang Ori pick them up. She was there to sundo Sora and like bring them with her to that final scene, because it's nice that and very fitting that Sora's tucked away somewhere and died in this like very small and quiet way. But it also didn't make sense to have Sora not there at the very end. So it tried to kind of pull them through, at least in an NPC-esque kind of manner. But wanted to make sure all four of you were there at the end. Let's see. I think there was another question on like, how did you guys figure out what kind of characters you wanted to play? That I think we've chatted about quite a bit in the previous ones. So I think that's very kind. Or like
we gravitated to whatever faction we were kind of responsible for creating.
Yeah.
And then we kind of built upon what our experiences were like in terms of connecting with our culture personally as people.
Totally. And no one chose the bento hangin. Like, that's time action. So they just disappeared into the background, which is fine. I made sure you all had feather boards at the end, so like I forced them in.
They were there.
I love feather boards.
They were there when we needed them.
Yeah.
I was like, we can fly? Yes.
Yeah, so like one of the resolution to that final battle because like any good fight has multiple ways of ending it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like convincing the Shivrama Chimera to stop would have been one, but like almost impossible. Defeating it, which you all did, or like running away from them and like getting to the high table, to like the main temple, and freeing Inang Ori would have been another. I actually assumed that's what you were going to do because I tried to make the Chimera really difficult. But so like
it was.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I definitely thought about it.
It didn't even occur to me to run away because I just felt really like we had gotten to that fight and all of our characters were kind of like, okay, well, we got to make a stand somewhere.
Yeah, it's here either now or never. Kind of.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally.
It was a nice reveal that it was made of the Shivrama, because we had been talking a lot about how a lot of us could really only do guts damage, not blood damage.
Yeah.
And so it was revealed that it was just Shivrama up in there. I was like, oh, I can insult these people.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Time to deliver psychic damage.
Yeah.
Opens manga.
Yeah. Look back my ancestors. No, fair enough. There's another question here from the audience. I'll kind of speed through it a little bit, but the question is, who designed all the art for the ARC episodes? They were so good. Thank you very much. I did that. It was fun to make.
Ross was so fast at making art
For
things
real.
for this.
Yeah.
It was absurd.
Within
minutes.
So in the first episode, when we're using the Children of Ananguri to build the Chimera, I was drawing the little Chimera on our little shared whiteboard, and that was kind of what we were working off of for that first episode. We finished that episode, and within like an hour, Ross had a draft of like the final art of what this looked like, and I was like, "Excuse me." I just assumed you were using a generator or something. And so that's why I asked, because I was like, what did you use? How did you make this? I want to do more of these. And then you were just like, oh, I just kind of cut pictures together.
Yeah. Took a little bit of like figuring out the anatomy of animals, but yes. Yeah, definitely. If you're interested in that image, I don't think we've shared it publicly, but I can share it on the Game Master Monday Discord.
Probably share that as well as the map, because you did an awesome job on the map as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say it added so much after we got that stuff in the first episode or the first episode of Arc. I should have gone to bed right afterwards because I have a job where I wake up very early, but instead I was laying in my bed looking at this map for like 30 minutes. Yeah, it was so. I looking at all the little pieces of Inangiri kind of like spread out on this map.
It's so good.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Very good.
I use like textures for the bridges, or I found like medical illustrations of tendons, and I use that as like the texture on the bridges and stuff. Collage is great because you can like really just throw stuff together quite quickly, but it does take a second to kind of.
It looked really good, and it really did fit the aesthetic.
Yeah. Definitely an inspiration from Mometos, who did all the art on Arc and on the Children of Anangori. That's just the aesthetic that's built into the game. So very proud to continue that tradition from them.
Take note, audience. Ross can scrapbook with the best of them is what we've learned.
So I have so much trouble scrapbooking.
Really?
Yeah, I just like the idea of cutting paper and then pasting it is terrifying because I'm like, I can't uncut it. Whereas like with digital I can like do it a couple of times until I get it right. So those who scrapbook, those aunties in the Midwest, hats off, man. Especially when it looks amazing. Like it takes so much like courage to do it, in my opinion. So.
Shout out also to the overlays. That's something I learned. This is my first like live stream I've ever done. I didn't know how much work went into overlays and how specific you have to be. Cool collaboration there between Ross and Jen.
Yeah.
The overlays are so phenomenal. Speaking of, this is I'm just gonna real quick plug again. So fun fact about the Crit Awards is that we do have a best overlay category.
Mm-hmm.
Now I cannot tell you who to nominate or who to vote for because I'm on the board.
I can.
All I'm saying is that we have a lot of very niche categories, and that a lot of these wonderful folks, as well as a lot of other creators, have wonderful things you could nominate for all of our categories.
Hey, you should nominate Ross for best overlay.
We're not beholden to not talking about it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't tell you who to vote for. Nominate whoever you want for any of the categories. I'm just saying we have a lot of categories.
It feels like that moment in like a D&D party where like everybody's talking about like murdering somebody and the paladin's like, I gotta go step outside. I have to excuse myself for a moment.
I'm not even here right now.
Y'all talk about it and I gotta come back. Yes, that's very kind. I think the overlay was fun. It was tricky to do. And I was able to find like there's so much open source open source illustrations out there that was fun to kind of look through, because old illustrations of what people thought of dragons was fun just to kind of view, and then that's what I used as the main texture on the back there. But yeah, that's art. Cool.
Art.
Yeah. Yes, lots. People are saying other very kind things in the chat. Thank you.
Ross is just kind of great is the summary of this,
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah.
Keep saying good things. Actually, don't stop.
Yeah, the cost of doing all this awesome stuff is not releasing an episode for Blades of My Heart for 4 months. So I definitely need to switch gears a little bit, but it is nice to do other creative things that kind of stretch out what I thought I was capable of doing, and that's kind of that's what's great about Game Master Monday, but also what's great about the community in general. That there's a lot of opportunities and incredible organizations and that's worth exploring and engaging with and participating in. Cool. So we've come to there is a big final question that we often ask on these episodes. But before I do that, is there any questions from the chat that seems like burning or that you'd like to ask?
Ask us all the things.
Yeah, we'll all kind of look to wherever we have our chat screen.
Have not talked nearly enough today.
I've been in a Q&A with Grant before, and I'm a little bit
Yeah,
wary of this last question.
Uh-oh, I don't know what
it's
this
worth doing.
holds.
Rosie, that is such a fantastic question. Yeah, Andy?
Yeah.
What?
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What? What did I do?
Yeah,
So
any
yeah.
other
No, while we're
questions
waiting for
from
chat to
or
kind of
the cast? Yeah.
comment stuff, I have genuinely just loved playing with this this particular cast. It's been a phenomenal time. The story we got to tell together, and I'm very excited for what shenanigans we shall play in the future, because I'm sure we'll reunite for something, because it was fun. It was too fun to not.
Yes, absolutely. And like to continue to something that that's kind of inherent in my household, and I found in like other, my aunties and uncles and people that were family to me, was that there's always another chair somewhere in the house that you can pull up to the table. Just some like random IKEA chair or like a table that's a stool now. And like that mentality is, I think, critical to building our community for performers, especially POC and marginalized performers, that like we should always have a chair tucked away somewhere that we can pull to the table. So I'm hoping, that we can all work together, but also pull more folks to the table and tell a bigger, wider, broader story. So,
Yeah.
Cool. We'll do one question here, because there's one, I think the one actual question in here was like, was there anybody, was there an NPC or a villain or like that was really resonating with folks?
Loved the final monster, Chimera monster.
That was really good.
I thought about that design for a while afterwards.
I just want it on record that I hated it. The concept of a centipede human bug person.
Yeah.
No. Like it was great, phenomenal, 10 of 10, but also no.
Just excuse
Not
me.
allowed.
How dare.
Absolutely terrible. Cinema.
I selfishly I liked it because it was the chance for me to have what Fish talked about earlier, which was like a 3-episode character arc. Where it's like, oh, I get to confront my heritage and my ancestors, which was something I had
really
like
good.
mentioned to Ross off stream. Like, I would love for this to happen if there's a possibility of it happening. And of course it happened in like the coolest, spookiest way.
I don't want to toot our own horns. I think we all managed like the 3-episode character arc. Surprisingly, I didn't think we'd be able
Yeah,
to
we
do it.
did.
Everyone
Oh,
like got
good.
one. That was insane.
It was impressive.
Yeah. I think the one that, because like the one that surprised me the most to actually like manifest was Fong's character arc. Like I think
Me too.
You know what I mean? Like I think it's hard to have a character that feels like they want to be static, like they're inherently resistant to change, and then having to see kind of what how that person can change over a very short amount of time was really cool to see. So like definitely kudos to you,
Oh
Zoe.
shoot, we hit $200.
Oh my god.
Oh, thank you
Hey!
so much for
Thank you.
continuing to donate and to support Second Harvest and the First Nations Development Institute. This is incredible. Thank you. I forgot that the link is still there. So
That's a good overlay.
yeah,
Yeah.
look at that.
Who made it? Vote for it.
So specifically, thank you so much for your support. That let us hit our second milestone. So thank you for getting us there.
Just because no one has said it yet, my favorite NPC was the fire giant with the Napa cabbage.
It was
I
awesome.
wanted to talk to that guy for like just 2 more sessions. That's all
I
I,
will,
wanted
I will
to
at
do.
some point draw just a vague ball of lettuce with 2 wings sticking out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just like blood.
Yeah, just-
Drifting down.
Zero context, no tags. Just
Yeah.
put it in there.
yeah. Out of context, actual play illustrations.
This
Yep.
would be a great. I've had this idea for, and Game Master Money can see later if they want.
Yeah.
I've had this idea for like a talk show or an RPG for a long TTRPG for a long time, where it's just like fireside chats with characters from different shows that you've really enjoyed. I would love to get Sora in on a fireside chat, just like talking to another character about nothing in particular, and just see where it goes.
Yeah, like
Sora
our
and the Fire Giant. What are they talking about?
multiverse. yeah. Like Space Ghost esque kind of chat. Yeah. Man, I'm pulling all these like 90s references. Hopefully it's cool.
Hopefully.
Hopefully it's cool.
Sorry. All right, cool. So the tradition Game Master Monday is that there is a final question. Our final question today is, what was everybody's favorite part about working with each member of the table? So we'll go around.
Knew it.
I'll put a focus, and then we'll all talk about that person in nice with nice words, and then we'll wrap up from there. So we'll focus on Zoe because I love when people
Evil.
are squeaky, and I'm like, oh, you're the one. So we'll focus on Zoe. Let's go around the table and say how it was. What was your favorite part about working with Zoe? Yeah, Kenny.
I can definitely start this one. Zoe, what I really treasured about working with you was subtlety is a really difficult art. And as someone who has not been very subtle in their lives, like a pretty loud person in my real life, I just really appreciated how you like handled business in a really subtle way and then like made the most of the moments that you got. That I like treasure that in a TTRPG player, and I thought you did that really well. And now that I'm going down my Hard as a Dungeon rabbit hole, I'm seeing it everywhere. I love it. I love that.
100%.
My favorite part, I think, of working with Zoe is specifically like with everybody at this table, it was so easy to just kind of like throw the ball and have it be caught. And like there was the back and forth was just awesome. But Zoe specifically, I feel like you and I kind of ended up on a really like we were in sync so quick, and it was so fun to be able to like I felt like I understood Fong immediately so much more than I like initially understood any of the other characters, and it was really awesome to kind of have that connection like from a player's perspective and not just from a like theoretically our characters have bonds, but it was really awesome to like as a player feel like I connected with you and be able to like interact in that way. I really hope we play together again soon because like it was fun to get to connect with you and to get to interact with your character in that way.
For me, like genuinely speaking, I could listen or watch Fong just do things for like forever. It was so fun to just
I was
watch
thinking
and
that.
listen to Fong do things.
Yeah.
Fong was so good. Like honestly, like I'd love just being able to be in a space where I could watch you do that because that was incredible. That was great. I love Fong so much.
Totally. I'm very honored to have you at the table, Zoe. Like the Heart is a Dungeon is definitely at this point like a venerable institution. Like there, such amazing performances come from that space, and to have you here at the table is like was very intimidating when I heard about it. So I was like, okay, cool. We're gonna have Zoe here, great. And I think what's really incredible is like I definitely echo what Kenny was saying. Like your Fong was a giant walking mouse, like a bipedal mouse, and they ended up really like sticking in moments and conversations that we needed to move the plot forward, or we needed to like experience something, or that I needed the characters to, and then Fong was the one to like instigate it. It was both Vina poking shit and then Fong like so like one of the two of you were gonna move us forward, which was incredible. But I think it's also I'm very grateful that you were able to play a character that had those kind of personal worries and stresses and expectations of like needing to be useful, and then having a cathartic moment where at the very end you are, and to have that moment of like seeing Fong let go of that, which I think is something that like I continually need to think about and meditate on. Like I need to let go of like needing to be useful, because that's why at the end I wanted to have a moment where you saw Sora and Fong living in a certain way with Inang Ori, because like that isn't the end of their story. That once you're able to let go of that kind of worry, that there's something more available, and I'm hoping that like that continues to go with you as you navigate the world, because we're very, very grateful, very lucky to have you here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit with it.
I hate this question.
Accept it.
You loved and appreciated in that
Yeah.
closet. Do it.
Cool. I'm gonna go just around the table. So Fish. We'll do
Oh,
Fish
no.
next.
Ah! I'll go first.
I'll go.
Fish and I never played together before, but somehow we kept making like perfect foils of each other's faces. And it's just you you say that tossing a ball to me, I could toss a ball to you, and you have such a creative way of thinking of things and solutions, and bringing it like back home, even if it starts in chaos. And then the art the art that you drew on the whiteboard, like I thought the first version was great, and then you came up with the second version, and I still think about that all the time. It's beautiful. You are a fantastic player and artist, and we will play something together soon. I will make it happen.
I can build on that, because Fish, what I've really enjoyed about you, not just in game, but also like in our chat and getting ready to play the game, that I think that you're kind of both a instigator and a co-conspirator in like good ways. You can initiate plans, and you can like take someone's plan and run with it. That happened in our game, and that happened in discussions we were having about our characters and about the world. Like just the creativity that you brought to our discussions, it elevated the level of what we made. And I could see a very measurable and like specific impact that you had on every interaction we had in game. And I appreciate a co-conspirator in games. It's like, that is that I've loved that about playing with you.
For Fish, honestly, like the vibes, no matter what, immaculate. whether we were like planning something out, whether we were like in sort of the characters, just it's fun to like play at a table with you. Like, and I know that's such a that's such a like I don't know if it's a low fruit answer, but no, like it is just so much fun to like play with you. Like just it feels easy, I guess is like the other word, right? Like there like it feels like when like reaching out, like, there's always someone else on the other side. Like you're so good at doing that. It's so great.
Yeah. I think it takes a lot of effort to make others feel easy. So like
Yeah.
that's definitely, yeah, it definitely resonate. I think for me, my favorite thing about working alongside Fish is that it feels like we're in like the warm-up phase of what you can bring to the table. Like, not to say that what you brought wasn't great, obviously, from what everybody was saying, like it was resonant and beautiful and fun to play with and play alongside. But I feel like there's just this expansiveness inside your talent that we're just starting to scratch the surface on. And like there's the art stuff, obviously there's your support and care and love for the community through Crit Awards, there's that. But then like the stories that feel like exist within the mercurial parts of you, it's still like I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to engage with and learn about and hear those stories. And that's what I mean about warm up. Like we're just at the beginning of what the stories that you can tell, and that is so exciting. Like I feel very honored to be like, hey, I was there at a table right at the beginning, and yeah, again, just another moment of like gratitude and feeling fortunate to have you here in this moment.
It's so fun to watch everyone like shrink into their chair as they receive compliments.
What would you rather, Eddie? Us like expand our egos grow? Yeah.
I appreciate all of you very much.
Yeah.
I feel like just really quick, like I feel like throughout this whole game, because like I've never played with any of you before, my brain likes doing the thing where it's like you are clearly talking too much and being irritating. You should stop and let someone else say words that you're not being irritating. So like having this moment to like it A is what my brain needed to hear so that it can stop being mean to itself, and B, I really appreciate it. Like I adore playing with all of you, and I'm very, very excited for the future.
We would love to tell your brain it's lying.
Yeah.
I've been trying for 25 years.
Yeah.
I'll throw a sock at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kenny. Well, let's go around and speak about
Okay,
your favorite
so-
parts about it.
So Kenny,
Oh no.
from the second we started assembling this table, you were immediately like, "Oh, like I've never like done this sort of like actual play sort of thing before. Like, what's like, is there anything I need to know for like live streaming, whatever?" And we were all just kind of like, "Here are tips and tricks and whatever." And you were like, "Cool." And then you hopped on stream and absolutely killed it, like immediately. Like your ability to just immediately meld into the flow of things, because like the thing about like live streaming a game versus playing a game personally, for all of the peeps who are watching, is that they're very different experiences in that, like, yeah, you're still technically playing the game, but one is more structured for like the audience as well, whereas one is just like you, and you have so many more things to balance in your head when you're on like a live stream doing that sort of thing. And so I know with my first live stream, it was very much like my first like actual play live stream was very much like I felt like my brain was in 40 million places at once, and I was like, I don't know, how do I, okay, this is my okay, what? And your ability to just immediately like find your flow was impressive. Like I would have never guessed that you don't just do this all the time, because like it was crazy. You're just great.
Like playing with like you, Kenny, it's it's like a surprise box every time. Like I
Mm.
have zero clue what you're gonna do at any given moment, and it's so good every single
Yeah,
time.
true. Jumping on a table and like getting everybody's attention while he's doing karaoke. I was like, okay, let's do it.
PowerPoint presentation. Let's
it's like
go.
having
Yeah, yeah,
a-
PowerPoint presentation.
Exactly, yeah.
I was like,
It's
all right, let's do
it's
it.
like having like a little grab bag or like advent calendar, and I don't have to wait. I can just keep opening it every time and get something fun and like just like so unexpected, like, and like not in a bad way, because you can do that in like a bad way where people just like swerve for
what?
like no reason.
That
Yeah,
one.
like
You
what
could
happened.
absolutely do it in
Yeah,
a bad
you
way.
could-
It never felt like
no.
it was unexpected, but it never felt unwarranted.
Mhm. It's like you were always thinking
Mhm.
like 10 steps ahead of me, where I was like still trying to figure out what to do with I was still trying to figure out my move, and you're just like, I have a full PowerPoint presentation. I know exactly what I'm doing. And then like you bringing it all together with the trader, where like you could kind of see if you looked back, where you're like, man, I really should have known that Kenny was the trader. But like in the moment, I was just like, what are you talking about?
Oh, me. Okay.
Yes.
I think like early on, I could tell that you were doing a lot of thinking. There's a lot of like internal navigation of options. Whether it was for Inagori or even the first episode of Arc, you're just trying to kind of feel out how to like navigate the story as this character and how to pilot it with all of these like options and sometimes conflicting motivations for your character. I think what was really great was like seeing the moments where you felt really comfortable to just start exploring and start like inhabiting that space and um, coming to this like realization that things were connected and that was starting to impact not only your character, but I could see that it was starting to impact you as a person, as a player. I think that is one of the hardest things to find in a player in this kind of performance space, because like we inherently think about how to create a great experience for our audience, that one of the first things that performers can like lay at the door is our ability to enjoy and be in awe and be changed by something. And that was just you kept that, and it was very obvious, and it was really incredible to see you continue to like ask questions and evolve your character and continually like pick away at really hard themes in the game. So it meant a lot for somebody to engage with some of the themes in particular that I was like laying down, because it's very easy to skip them, to get to like, oh, we got to fight a big monster, but then for you to be able to really like internalize this idea that like I'm not fighting a monster, I am facing the ridicule and the exclusionary nature of my past and community. Like that's cool and hard, and like I said before, very incredibly grateful to have somebody like you here.
I have an additional appreciation.
Mm.
We're done.
Your butt starts to unclench. Like she's like, hey, wait a second.
I already let my shields back down. Okay.
You're such a genuinely nice person.
Yeah, that
like-
too. Yeah.
Like the thing about playing games like this, especially with a cast of people who like haven't all played together before, it's really hard to like find that level of comfort, because you're kind of you're on some level you're navigating everybody's lines and veils, as well as navigating what story everybody wants to tell. And like you were just genuinely so nice and so open to
Mhm.
kind of whatever the narrative led us towards, that it was so easy to kind of find the like sync. That way we could we could build the story together. Like it was there was an immediate level of comfort when it comes to RP with you that I have yet to like. There's a lot of like I've played with quite a few people, but like a lot of times it takes more time to kind of build to that point. But with you, it was like immediate. Like you were just so genuinely nice and open and wonderful to play with.
Yeah.
That went both
Okay, now I'm
ways.
done.
I felt the same about you all. Thank you for letting me unleash some thoughtful chaos on you all. I appreciate that.
And Andy. Andy is the focus.
Okay, let me
Get him.
talk. I am a huge fan of poetry. Read a lot of poetry, write a lot of poetry. And Andy, playing with you, Oppo emulated this because I had no other recourse. I felt like it's had to happen. Where playing with you feels like at any moment you could unleash the gravity of like reading a beloved poem for the first time. It felt like there were important things happening anytime your character was involved. So there was that side of playing with you. Like there's just this gravitas that comes, and it's not just because of the way your voice sounds. You make choices that aren't competitive, that are humble. You make choices that make sense for the character, even at the even if it is a detriment to like whatever success would look like in the game. But then also playing with you felt like playing with my siblings in a lot of ways. And we had talked just before the stream about like various forms of child violence that we participated in. And it was like,
Yeah.
That felt like home too. So I appreciated that. I had both of those things when I was playing with you.
Oh.
So Andy,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I've been hearing about you for months. Rosie has been talking nonstop about just how awesome of a player you are. Now here's the thing. I don't like consume many actual plays just because my attention span is about this long. My ability to consume media is it my hyperfixation? No, then sorry, it's not happening. Like that's it. So I had no experience with your kind of the content that you've been part of. But Rosie constantly was like, Andy's amazing. You're gonna love playing with Andy. You ready to play with Andy? Andy's great. And I was like, okay, cool. The bar, it's here. I was ready. And you came freaking swanning in and immediately vaulted over this bar like it was nothing. Like the way you string words together, specifically, like in like the descriptions of the like grave feeders, in like the way you described like your character, the way that you built your story, the way you string words together is so impactful and meaningful. And I never felt like you wasted words. I ramble like nobody's business. Like I'm just talking and talking like my life depends on it. But like every single word you said felt like it meant something and was there for a reason. And it made like the overall telling of the story that you were telling us that much more impactful and more precious. And I adored that.
You are such an incredible storyteller. Like this is what you are meant to do. Like this is your calling. Like every character you create, I am hanging on to your every word. Like I believe every single thing that comes out of your mouth. Like with no question. You could tell me that like my closet is on fire right now. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Like when you first started typing out the description of feeders, I went, oh, that's what we're doing now. Got it.
Yeah, like I was like, all right, time to think of the name. And I looked slightly to the right, and there was a post-it that was like,
wow.
Yeah. My post-it had 3 words on it. And
I don't think I had a name yet. Like I was still just staring at it. Like you make me want to be better. Like I want to be you when I grow up.
Yeah. I think for me, it was one very looking forward to playing with you. Thanks to like a lot of kind people speaking about you in such positive ways, but also that like I'm always on the hunt for more Filipino performers, so like you and Kenny, and just like I just have a wide vision for it, and I'm very curious, and I want to engage with that that community and those folks, and being able to be at a table with you and to like do like myth and folklore references, and you're like yeah like that, and I was like, shit, this is dope. Like I often have to follow up with an explanation, but I guess other than that, there is I think what's interesting about the way that you string words together is that it is both an external observation of like what is going on and things that people have resonated with in regards to their lived experiences or society, or challenges in regards to perceptions of disability, or you know, all of these, and yet a lot of it comes from this like internal churning through your own kind of imagination and past experiences. And that's like such a hard balance to do, where you can bring something that seems very personal to you and have it resonate with so many people. I think that is like an incredible gift to continue to like build on and refine and to share with others. And I think what is interesting is that like the character that I was like most concerned about, I was concerned with everybody and everybody's narrative, but the one that I was like worried that I wouldn't do justice to was Sora, because Sora was this like, it was very complex and there was a lot of layers to them, and I wanted to make sure that like every one of those layers were honored, because you provided so much honor and care in crafting all of those layers to Sora. So it was like just kind of like what Zoe was saying, like you force people to come up to your level and to exceed you, which I think is an incredible gift and a blessing when you not only at the table, but I'm sure in the communities that you're in as well. So yeah.
Right.
Get appreciated.
Get appreciated. Just kidding.
All right, everybody, it's Ross's turn.
And
Get
now we
him.
move on.
Get him. Make him pay.
Yeah, just like the form said, make Ross pay.
Yeah.
Fish, you're muted.
Yeah, it was.
I'm glad I didn't say anything substantial while I was muted. I was just kind of, yeah. Ross. So here's the sitch. Here's the deal. Here's the thing. It's hard enough to build a world given weeks of time to prep and a story given time and the space to kind of craft. You had 1 week, and the story that you created for us was incredible. I cannot stress enough how I have absolutely zero criticisms for the game that we played. Like, that story felt so impactful, and whilst the doom felt kind of inevitable, it didn't feel like railroady, for lack of a better word. Like, the point of the game was to have this kind of ending looming thing happening anyway, but at no point did I feel like we were lacking in decisions to make. And even at the end, even with like with like the deaths and with the kind of metamorphosis happening and with all of the chaos, it still felt like our decisions mattered. And to have that be such a like a memorable piece of such a dramatically impactful story that you put together in a week, crazy, absolutely crazy. Your mind, crazy. I so hope to get to play with you again in the future, because like that's what you put together in like 7 days of like, all right, this is what we kind of put together now to build on that, then I can't wait to see more of like given the time and the chance to kind of expand what else is there. Basically, Uno reverse what you said to me.
I think the most interesting thing is the week prior to our game, I was playing an asshole vlogger in Grant's Call of Cthulhu like fundraiser, and I was like trying to code switch and like gear switch to something that I knew had a lot of impact and weight to it. I think was a fun thing to try and do.
I can talk about what I've loved about playing with you is that I do, like you were saying, I do look for like narrative threads to put into like a mental bank and look for ways to tie them together, because I think that's just a more intriguing story to tell. Every thread that you put down has so much intention and meaning behind it, but isn't like demanding of a meaning or intention. It allows us to create and synthesize in a way that makes sense for us and our characters. I just felt so free. Like this table helped me feel free to tell the story I wanted to tell, knowing that you put these pieces out there for us to put together, and that I knew that there was something special behind it, right? Like the map, spending 30 minutes looking at that map because there was something special there that I needed to know. And that happened with bits of information we needed to from the get-go, like the child walking through the streets. I was like, there's something here. Like we're getting storytelling. These are things I can store and use later in a meaningful way. That it's like all I can ask for as a performer in a TTRPG. It's like meaningful narrative threads, but also maintaining like a humility and a humbleness and a humor to give us pieces that like we can play with. So I think you bring that kind of humor and humbleness to the things you put down as well.
I think the way that I like to imagine people like telling stories, especially in this sort of medium, is I like to imagine it as like a net, because you have like all these like strings that you like tie together, and the way these strings like attach, the way they interweave, what the material is made of, all of those like form how the like, efficacy of that net like works. The way that you do it is like it's art. It's like an art form, like the way that you like sort of set that sort of thing up, because some of those strings might be stuff that we had like sort of tossed at you to see what you would do with. Some of them like are like things you made yourself. Others are like a mix of that, and all of them like tie together in such neat and like beautiful ways. And I think that's like the important thing, that it's not just neat. It's not just because it like makes sense. There's like something like genuine and like beautiful about the way the things tie together. Like there really is no other word for it than like an art form, because it's like seeing painting on like a canvas, right? Like it's not just like a paint by numbers thing where the colors go where they're supposed to go. There's a lot of intention behind like the strokes and how the colors come down, and that's how it feels to like watch you make the world, tell the story, and sort of like play this game with you. It's so good. It's such an honor to be able to like see something like that.
I tell Rara pretty frequently that they are my safe DM. I will do pretty much only things with them. And so when Grant asked me immediately after I had said that on my last Q&A with him, he was like, hey, I have something for you. I'm going to DM you. And I usually say no to a lot of things because of fear.
Yeah,
Because
fair.
like when I don't know people, I'm like, I don't really know how to act around them, and I'm gonna have to police myself a lot, and it's just very exhausting, and I get a migraine. But immediately entering the chat, you just made me feel so comfortable and safe, and like I could say anything, I could do anything within reason. um, and you're not just like a great GM, you're a really good teacher, because I don't have a ton of experience with other TTRPGs outside of like Dungeons and Dragons. And you were able to tell this incredible story while also guiding us in like how to do character creation, how roles worked, what like the not necessarily like min-maxed, but like what the optimal things, what you would suggest to do with your character, and how we could like bring storylines together and just create this really special stream series. It's been nothing short of magical, really.
I completely forgot that we all learned both of these systems.
2 games. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2
Yeah,
games.
and that
Fourth
would not
grade.
have been
What?
possible without Ross, without how on top of it you were when it comes to like learning it kind of ahead of us and like kind of guiding us along as we were all figuring it out together.
To the audience, you can watch us falling off that bike in real time in like the second episode.
Although I do want to remind us all that I think it was the first session right before we went live. I was like, "How do you play this game?" So, like, I was learning alongside you all for sure. Yes, thank you so much for your kind words. I think it is. I think it's a one of the things that a testament to a good table, that you look at ingredients and you imagine the dinner, you imagine the meal, rather than like interrogating each piece. I think that's just something that is like a game master or like a guide's dream, that like I can lay all of these down and people envision a world where we're eating all of these things together and sharing a meal and connecting and building community. So yeah, thank you for being as amazing as you all are.
No, you.
No, you.
It always comes back to food.
Yeah,
It's
Food
always.
is good.
I can
Nourish the
smell the
body
new
and
And
soul.
so
nuts,
it
so that's like
begins
my
and
excuse.
No, food is great. But always come back to food.
Food good.
Good.
Uh,
All right.
yeah.
So that brings us to the official end to the Longing for Another Strange Land. Thank you all for riding with us, for helping us build a world, seeing it collapse, seeing it rise from the ocean, and seeing it collapse again.
Third time's a charm.
Run it back.
I think the theme that one of the themes I'm very proud of is that it takes growth and collapse in this series to metamorphosize into something interesting and new, and that are pieces of both the old and the new. So really appreciate you, audience, chat, for riding with us as long as you have, and for supporting the foundations that we were fundraising for. Every dollar is going to count towards incredible moves forward for the communities that they support. So thank you again. Yeah, I think the best part about these Q&As is that we often talk about the next thing. So rather than lingering in the remains of Inang Uri, let's look ahead to next Monday, March 31st. Fifth Monday Live will be presenting Cortex Prime with guest GM Technomancer Kyle. Please join us for an evening of corporate horror as our players try to endure the terror of occupational therapy. That sounds terrifying. Way
scarier than what we made.
The terror of occupational therapy. What a sentence.
I ran a horror game in corporate horror, so I'm very stoked to kind of hear how that kind of pieces together. It will be starring Jenny, Oh Hello Mayor, Dusty Hill, and Tanlin from 5 Gems in a Trench Coat. So very exciting cast, and also Cortex Prime is such an interesting system. So please join us next Monday, March 31st. Game Master Monday. The podcast will be back on April 7th with their new mini-series, Sherwood Kill the Round Table, with incredible art and an incredible cast. Using the system Sherwood by R. Rook Studios, join Robin Hood's merry band of thieves as they take down the greatest of knights in all of history. This series is being run by Jenny Dorndean and will be starring Janelle, aka Boss Jellybean, Spunky Taylor, Rose Tears, Dusty Hill, Jonas. Please forgive me. Tinten Sayer, Jonas Tinten Sayer, and Grant Nordine.
What a
Really, yeah, what a cast! Exciting to come back to this game, the story. So please keep an ear out on April 7th. Yeah, exciting things on the horizon. So before we fade into the horizon, let's say our final farewells. So please share your name, where we can find you, and any projects that we should be aware of. Andy, would you like to go first?
Hi, I'm Andy once again, and unlike the first time, I'm not gonna forget to say it. My pronouns are any they, and as always, you can find me on Magnificence under TTN, the Tabletop Tailspenders Network, as Olwen in our little dark fantasy D&D game. Other than that, I hang around the internet. Come say hi. I'll probably say hi back, unless I'm shy, which I will try not to be.
Zoe.
Okay. Hi, I'm Zoe. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me at Potato Potato on the interwebs or at my website, zoedaily.card.co. I have no fun TTRPG things coming up, but you can hear me on the Technomancy project on Spotify? Question mark? I should know this. On Tuesday, episode 3 of season 2. Go listen. Woo!
Incredible. Awesome. Kenny.
Hi, I'm Kenny. I use he, him pronouns, and you can find me on a podcast, This Could Get Dicey. We have a long form D&D campaign going, but also like to dabble in other TTRPGs and make our own. Most recently, I made a little one-pager TTRPG based on the kids' show Bluey. It was very wholesome.
Oh,
It's
my heart breaks already. It's like I'm so excited.
it was very fun. Yeah, you can find me online at Chillport, CHILPORT.
Nice.
I just want to say that's such a great name. This could get dicey. Anyway, it's such a good fucking name.
Thank you.
Sorry, I heard Bluey and I'm like, I'm so down. It's such a great series. Even if you're not a parent, go watch it. It's great. For me, hello, thank you again. My name is Ross. Pronouns are he, him. I've been your guide in this mini series. You can find me at on all the socials at Blades of Mayari, Mayari. You can find Blades of Mayari wherever you get your podcasts. We are a Filipino-Canadian-led actual play podcast inspired by pre-colonial Filipino mythology. New episodes will be coming out this year at some point, but that'll be my new focus. I will be in some new projects coming up in the future. I don't know if they've been announced, but keep an eye on Boss Jellybean's Instagram and wherever they are communicating. There's some projects that I'll be working alongside Janelle with. Yeah.
I'm Fish.
Ooh. Sorry, go Fish.
I'm Fish. I'm gonna take a long time to do this now, so that Ross can feel. I'm just kidding. No, I'm Fish. You can find me everywhere online as Fish Finley with 2 E's at the end. I sing, I draw, I play games. It's a fun time. I'm kind of everywhere doing actual plays, kind of all over the interwebs. But currently, big thing, I'm on the board for the Crit Awards. We just announced our wonderful theme for this year, and it's fantasy creatures. Prints of that particular artwork that was used to announce it are available on my card. So if you go check out my little website, fishfinley.card.co, you'll see all the links to all the places. Also, the nominations sheet for the Crit Awards will be out in less than a week, April 1st. It's gonna be great. I promise. It's not an April Fool's joke. Legit, it's gonna be out on April 1st, and it's gonna be great. Nominate all your favorite creators for all of their categories. We have so many categories. We tried really. I'm gonna be so real. We tried so hard to decrease the number of categories this year, and we ended up adding categories because we were like, we
Right.
want to make sure we represent all of the niches of the community. And so we were like, but we need to make there's only so many of us, right, that manage this awards program. So we were like, we need to decrease the number of categories so we can like manage it. And then we were like, but all of these niches need to be represented. So we're just building our team up so that we can handle the load of nominations. So nominate all your favorite creators, and it'll be a fun time. But yeah, I sell prints, I
Nominate
do
Game
art,
Master Monday.
shenanigans, and crit awards. What?
Okay.
Nominate Game Master Monday.
Yeah.
Also, get Fish's print. It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
So
Yeah,
It's
you like
so
raved about it in
good.
the group
Thank
chat.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Like unprompted, we just talked about it.
I'd like to say that was intentional so that we can talk about the Crit Awards at the end and to really encourage the community to go out and support. I think one of the things that, Blaze Mayari was nominated last year for sound design, and it was an incredible honor because that meant people were listening. So I highly recommend supporting the podcasts that are small out there, especially ones of marginalized folks and POCs, and like let's just bring as many people up with us as we can. So an exciting time for the community. Hopefully we'll all see you again there. Yeah, did I forget anybody? Is there anybody else
Oh, it's just
hiding in
me.
the corners or behind anybody? Okay, awesome. Fantastic. Let's all right. Yeah. Okay. I think that's where we'll end. Again, thank you so much. It's been an incredible ride. Hopefully, we'll see you here again next Monday, March 31st. And regardless, thank you. Salamat. We'll see you on the horizon. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.